Relationships should be a source of love, support, and mutual growth. However, not all relationships are healthy, and some can be emotionally or physically damaging. Toxic relationships are characterized by unhealthy patterns of behavior that undermine trust, respect, and well-being. Recognizing the signs of a toxic relationship early is essential to protect your mental, emotional, and physical health. While every relationship faces challenges, toxic relationships often involve persistent negative behaviors that create conflict, manipulation, and imbalance. If you find yourself constantly feeling drained, unsafe, or unappreciated, it's important to evaluate the relationship's impact on your life. The signs of a toxic relationship may be subtle at first, but over time, they can take a serious toll on your self-esteem, happiness, and overall mental health. This guide explores 10 clear signs that you might be in a toxic relationship. From constant drama to abusive behavior, understanding these red flags can help you identify when things are not right. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional freedom and breaking free from unhealthy dynamics. If any of these signs resonate with you, it may be time to reassess your relationship and prioritize your well-being. 1. Constant drama. In a toxic relationship, drama often feels like a constant companion. It's characterized by frequent arguments, emotional outbursts, and situations where peace is hard to come by. The smallest issues can escalate into major conflicts, leaving you feeling mentally exhausted and emotionally drained. This kind of environment breeds anxiety, as you're never sure when the next argument will happen or how intense it might get. A toxic relationship can also involve manipulative behavior, where one or both partners provoke conflict just to regain control or attention. In such relationships, discussions often spiral out of control, with one person shutting down or the other becoming overly defensive or aggressive. These cycles of fighting can make you feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly worried about triggering the next emotional blow-up. Over time, constant drama creates a toxic pattern where emotional highs and lows dominate the relationship. It becomes exhausting to maintain, and often, both partners can become addicted to the chaos, unable to break free from this unhealthy cycle. Instead of fostering love, trust, and growth, the focus shifts to managing crises and tension, leaving little room for genuine connection or happiness. 2. You feel drained. One of the clearest signs of being in a toxic relationship is feeling emotionally and physically exhausted after spending time with your partner. Instead of feeling uplifted, supported, or happy, you're left feeling drained, overwhelmed, and depleted. This happens because the relationship constantly demands more from you than it gives back. Whether it's dealing with your partner's negativity, emotional outbursts, or unrealistic expectations, you're left with little energy to focus on your own needs or well-being. In these relationships, you may find yourself constantly giving without receiving in return, be it emotional support, love, or appreciation. The imbalance in effort can leave you feeling like you're doing all the work while your partner remains indifferent or self-centered. As a result, you begin to lose your sense of self and feel like you're stuck in a one-sided dynamic. Over time, this draining energy can affect every aspect of your life: your health, friendships, work, and even your ability to enjoy life. You may notice that the relationship is taking a toll on your mood, energy levels, and overall mental health. Feeling consistently drained is a major red flag that your emotional needs aren't being met and that the relationship may not be healthy for you. Lack of trust. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and when it's broken, it's difficult to rebuild. In a toxic relationship, a lack of trust can manifest in many ways, whether it's due to dishonesty, secrecy, or past betrayals. Constantly doubting your partner's words, actions, or intentions creates an atmosphere of suspicion where neither person feels safe or secure. If you find yourself regularly questioning where your partner is, who they're with, or what they're doing, it's a sign that trust has been eroded. This can be especially damaging if your partner is dishonest or avoids open communication, leaving you in a constant state of uncertainty. Trust issues can also arise from previous mistakes or betrayals, such as cheating, lies, or broken promises, and even if your partner claims they've changed, the shadow of doubt can still linger. In a relationship where trust is lacking, you might also notice your partner engaging in controlling or suspicious behavior, checking your phone, monitoring your social media, or questioning your every move. This kind of behavior not only damages trust, but also leads to a toxic cycle of resentment and insecurity. Without trust, a relationship becomes a constant battle of doubt, fear, and emotional instability, making it nearly impossible to thrive. 4. Disrespect. Disrespect is one of the most damaging signs of a toxic relationship. It often shows up in subtle and overt ways, but it always undermines the emotional safety and well-being of the individuals involved. In a disrespectful relationship, your feelings, opinions, and boundaries are frequently dismissed or belittled, leaving you feeling unimportant, unheard, or unvalued. This can manifest in many forms, such as insults, mockery, or disregard for your personal boundaries. Your partner might make demeaning comments about your appearance, intelligence, or character, or they may ignore your needs and wishes altogether. Even small, consistent dismissals, such as interrupting you when you speak, ignoring your concerns, or making you feel guilty for expressing yourself, are signs of disrespect. When disrespect becomes a pattern, it erodes self-esteem and creates a toxic environment where one partner dominates or minimizes the other. This type of behavior also often leads to power imbalances, where one person has more control, leaving the other feeling disempowered or inferior. Over time, constant disrespect can wear you down emotionally, making it harder to assert yourself or feel confident in the relationship. A relationship built on respect allows both partners to feel valued and heard. When that respect is absent, it's a major red flag that the relationship is unhealthy and not conducive to growth or mutual care. Manipulation. Manipulation is a harmful tactic used in toxic relationships to control or influence the other person through deceit, guilt, or emotional blackmail. In these relationships, one partner may use subtle or overt strategies to get their way, often at the expense of the other person's emotional well-being. The manipulator typically twists the truth, distorts reality, or uses your vulnerabilities to manipulate your feelings and actions. Common forms of manipulation include guilt tripping, where your partner makes you feel responsible for their emotions or well-being, or using flattery to gain your trust and get something from you. Gaslighting, a specific form of manipulation, involves denying facts or events to make you question your own memory or perception of reality. This can lead you to feel confused, insecure, or even crazy. Another common form of manipulation is playing the victim. Your partner may frequently shift blame to you, making you feel like you're always in the wrong, even when they're the ones at fault. This creates a sense of emotional imbalance, where you're constantly apologizing or trying to please them to avoid conflict, despite being treated unfairly. Manipulation undermines your ability to make independent decisions or express yourself freely. Over time, it can lead to feelings of powerlessness, confusion, and deep emotional exhaustion. Recognizing manipulation is essential for reclaiming your autonomy and breaking free from toxic patterns. 6. You feel isolated. In a toxic relationship, isolation is often a deliberate tactic used by one partner to gain control over the other. This feeling of isolation can be both emotional and social, where your partner discourages or prevents you from spending time with friends, family, or anyone who might offer support or perspective outside the relationship. Over time, your social circle begins to shrink, and you start feeling like you're alone in your struggles. This can happen subtly, with your partner gradually undermining your relationships, making negative comments about your loved ones, or creating scenarios that pressure you to choose them over others. In extreme cases, they may try to keep you physically isolated by discouraging you from going out or pursuing your interests, leaving you to feel dependent on them for emotional or social fulfillment. Emotionally, isolation in a toxic relationship makes you feel cut off from the world around you. You may start to feel like you're walking through life without support or validation, as your partner becomes the only person you interact with regularly. This can cause deep feelings of loneliness, self-doubt, and even guilt, as you may begin to feel responsible for maintaining the relationship at the cost of your own mental and emotional health. Isolation is a powerful tool of control in toxic relationships, and once it takes hold, it can make it harder to see a way out. Rebuilding a sense of connection with others and recognizing the importance of your support system is crucial in breaking free from this unhealthy dynamic. 7. Jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy and possessiveness are common traits in toxic relationships, and they often go hand in hand. While a little jealousy might seem like a normal reaction in any relationship, excessive jealousy and possessiveness create an unhealthy, controlling atmosphere. In these situations, one partner often becomes overly suspicious, insecure, and protective, fearing that their partner may be interested in someone else, even without any valid reason to believe so. This constant scrutiny can take many forms: questioning where you've been, who you've talked to, or demanding to know every detail of your interactions with others. Your partner might try to control who you spend time with, monitor your social media activity, or insist on knowing your every move. These behaviors aren't about love or concern, they're about domination and control. Possessiveness extends beyond jealousy. It often leads to controlling actions, where your partner tries to restrict your independence. They may act possessively over your time, emotions, and even your personal space, making you feel like you belong to them, in a way that erodes your autonomy. Over time, this kind of behavior can cause you to lose your sense of self. You might feel trapped, guilty, or constantly walking on eggshells, unsure of what will trigger your partner's jealousy. The emotional toll can be significant, and it can make you feel as though your freedom and individuality are being stripped away for the sake of someone else's insecurity. Healthy relationships should be built on trust, freedom, and respect, not control or constant suspicion. 8. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation, where one person tries to make the other doubt their own reality, memory, or perception. In a toxic relationship, gaslighting is often used to control or dominate by making the victim question their own thoughts, feelings, and sanity. The manipulator may deny events that clearly occurred, distort the truth, or even accuse the other person of being overly emotional or irrational when they raise valid concerns. For example, if your partner consistently lies about things they said or did, or if they dismiss your feelings by telling you that you're overreacting or too sensitive, it's a form of gaslighting. They might even convince you that you're remembering things incorrectly or that the situation wasn't as bad as you recall, which causes confusion and self-doubt. Over time, this can make you feel like you're losing touch with reality, unsure of what is true or not. Gaslighting is extremely damaging because it erodes your confidence and self-trust, leading you to rely more on your partner's version of events. It can make you feel powerless and unable to assert your own perspective. If left unchecked, it can create an unhealthy dynamic where the gaslighter holds all the power, while the victim feels increasingly isolated, confused, and uncertain. Recognizing gaslighting is key to protecting your mental and emotional health. Trusting your own experiences and feelings is vital for breaking free from this form of manipulation. 9. Unequal effort. In a healthy relationship, both partners contribute equally, emotionally, mentally, and physically. However, in a toxic relationship, one partner consistently puts in more effort than the other, creating an imbalance that can leave you feeling undervalued and neglected. When you're the only one making sacrifices, doing the emotional labor, or taking responsibility for the relationship's success, it can feel exhausting and unfair. Unequal effort can manifest in many ways. One partner might consistently avoid communication, refuse to compromise, or expect the other to always initiate plans or solve problems. They may take more than they give, whether it's time, emotional support, or resources. This dynamic often leads to feelings of resentment and frustration, as you begin to feel like you're carrying the relationship while the other person remains passive or indifferent. Another sign of unequal effort is when one partner takes the relationship for granted, assuming you'll always be there to pick up the slack or handle difficult situations. They may not acknowledge your needs or concerns, or may prioritize their own interests above yours. Over time, this one-sided effort leads to emotional burnout and a sense of disconnection, making it harder to maintain a healthy, balanced relationship. If you find yourself in a relationship where you're the only one putting in the work, it's a clear indication that the partnership isn't mutually fulfilling. Healthy relationships require effort from both sides, and when that balance is off, it can cause significant emotional harm. 10. Abusive behavior. Abusive behavior is the most damaging and dangerous sign of a toxic relationship. It can take many forms: physical, emotional, psychological, or verbal, and it always involves a power imbalance where one partner seeks to control, dominate, or harm the other. Abuse isn't just about physical violence. It can also include threats, intimidation, name-calling, humiliation, manipulation, or controlling actions that make the victim feel powerless, unsafe, or trapped. Physical abuse is often the most visible form of abuse, but emotional and verbal abuse can be just as harmful. Constant insults, belittling, or criticism can erode self-esteem and create a deep sense of fear or worthlessness. The abuser might use threats of violence, harm, or retaliation to maintain control, often promising change or apologies that never materialize. Psychological abuse involves manipulation tactics like gaslighting, where the abuser makes the victim question their own sanity or reality. They may also use isolation, keeping you away from friends and family to increase dependence on them. Financial control is another form of abuse, where the abuser restricts access to money or resources to maintain power. Abuse can also be subtle, such as using emotional blackmail, guilt-tripping, or blaming the victim for the abuser's behavior. Regardless of its form, abusive behavior always seeks to exert control and instill fear in the victim. And it's never acceptable in any relationship. If you are experiencing any form of abuse, it's crucial to seek help immediately. No one deserves to be treated in an abusive way, and breaking free from an abusive relationship is vital for your physical and emotional safety.